the return of the Samsung Galaxy Fold, and more coming up on today's episode of the latest in tech news. Hey Gadgeteer, you're just in time for the latest episode of the world's only 3-in-1 show on tech, gadgets, and gaming news. That's right, this is the latest in tech news. My name is Taylor Merrick, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now so that you don't miss out on the next episode. We do this on a daily around here, unless perchance other circumstances arrange themselves in a way to deter me from making an episode, which, well, okay, I'm gonna be honest. After a long hard day of work, I come home, I kiss the baby, I pat the wife on the head. I messed that up. I kiss the wife, I pat the baby on the head, I eat dinner, I hang out with the family a little bit, and then I rush over, I research everything that happened today in the tech world, gadgets, gaming news. I research everything that I can possibly find, get my hands on, and then I condense that into my brain, filter out the top stories, and then bring them to you, courtesy, free of charge, available on the interwebs, anywhere you can, find this show, which is essentially everywhere, including its very own website, TechNewsGadget.net, and I'm excited to be back and bringing you more shows and news and everything else. Today's going to be a little bit of a shorter show. You see, I have other things going on in the background that's going on in my life that I don't want to make public just yet, but yeah, I'm quite busy with stuff. I mean, the one thing that's appealing to me right nowadays is sleep. I mean, I don't know how I'm going. I'm still like hardcore, plugged in, focused, getting the content out, getting the work done, and managing everything. I honestly feel like a computer at sometimes, like a robot. Like, how did Terminator do it? How did he manage to contain his cool and yet make 3 John Wick movies? Okay, now I'm starting to mix movies up, but yeah, we have a great show lined up for you guys today. Can you tell? I'm like, I don't know if I'm even gonna be able to get any sleep tonight. Probably shouldn't have had that Mountain Dew. Not sponsored, by the way, but gosh, the one thing that I do quite enjoy, at least this week, is sleep. And then I wake up and I go, oh yes, I'm awake now and I'm not tired. It's weird. I wake up, I'm not tired, and then I just jump right in head first into work and everything that entails. I have a quite full, busy life. But yeah, it is Friday, just before the weekend, so hope you guys have any plans and are going to do them this weekend, that you enjoy them to the extent that you are able to. It is September, by the way, so with the weather starting to cool off a little bit, fall, autumn starting to slowly take shape, it's finally it's almost time to welcome a new season into the world. But yeah, anyways, we're quite busy with everything, but the feature story we'll be getting to today is the Samsung Galaxy Fold's hard lesson. A flimsy design will kill a foldable phone, and we'll be getting into that. We'll also be taking a look at Sony unveiling a $900 touchscreen Walkman. I had to cover this one. I just had to. We'll also be taking a look at Bioware-style RPG Greedfall's launch trailers. Pretty great looking. We won't be playing it on the show for you guys for obvious copyright purposes, but we will have a link for you guys to go and watch that. I will say it's quite interesting, but we'll be getting into that. And finally, we'll be taking a look at, well, if you didn't know, Gears 5. Some people have their hands on it currently, while the rest of us remain in anticipated bated breath to play the next Gears 5. Apparently there's a pretty hilarious bug going on, and some players want it permanently added to the game. We'll actually be taking a look at that. But before we do, let's look back on today in tech history. Alright, today is September 6th, 2019. On this day in history, in 2008, after 5 months of delays, the high-resolution Earth observation satellite GeoEye-1 is launched from Vandenberg Air Force Base. Owned by the corporation GeoEye Inc., GeoEye-1 is capable of taking high-resolution images with detail down to 16 inches. However, the U.S. government has restricted that resolution for its own use. Commercial usage is limited to resolutions with detail down to 20 inches. As an exclusive licensee of the images for online mapping purposes, Google had its logo on the Delta II rocket that was used to launch GEO I-1. And also on this day in history, in 1997, the U.S. Navy commissions the USS Hopper. Now, for those of you who don't know, the USS Grace Murray Hopper was commissioned by the U.S. Navy in San Francisco. Hopper, a rear admiral in the U.S. Navy, enjoyed successful careers in academia, business, and military while making history in the computer field. She helped program the Harvard Mark I and II and developed the first compiler A-0. Her subsequent work on programming languages influenced the COBOL programming language and led to more developments that we are now reaping the benefits of even today. With that out of the way, let's head on over to today's feature story. And unfolding today's story, before we actually get to that, if you want access to the articles used in today's show, head on over to TechNewsGadget.net. So, the Samsung Galaxy Fold has returned. I guess they learned a lesson. Flimsy design will kill a foldable phone. This article comes to us from CNET, and it begins: months after putting the Galaxy Fold on ice, Samsung is finally ready to sell its redesigned foldable phone this month. The Fold is the company's first ever device with a screen that bends in half, and also the first to come to market from any major brand. Keep in mind, Huawei postponed their Mate 10 right now, but it might go on sale in October. But the rush to be first hurt the Fold, embarrassed Samsung's CEO, and cast doubt on the durability of these seriously risky devices, and what a risk it was. It's a lesson Samsung is unlikely to forget and hopefully unlikely to repeat. So the author here reviewed the initial Fold design and said that a foldable phone is only as good as the quality of its screen. That's because, more than with any other phone, the screen is the foldable's very reason for existence. Its entire value rests in its ability to provide you a meaningful experience on a bigger display than one you can have with a 6.8-inch phone like on the Note 10 Plus, and in a footprint that's half the size of a tablet. If you're going to be spending $2,000 on a delicate piece of tech whose chief asset is prone to gouges and worse, do you really want to, throw $2,000 out the window? I don't know. Turns out at least the author here was half right. The screen's integrity is only one element of the bigger picture. The Galaxy Fold didn't have a rocky beginning solely because the plastic screen's top layer is softer than glass. The damage came because the entire design was flimsier than it should have been, with the screen as the central point of failure. The problems with the Galaxy Fold began almost immediately when a handful of reviewers noticed 3 different issues maligning the display. There were bulges, there was flickering, and in more than one case a protective layer that looked like a common disposable dust guard proved to break the screen when taken off. The Galaxy Fold was more prototype than finished product, and it actually showed. Samsung said it fixed the Fold's problems by adding plastic and metal reinforcements throughout. It closed off air gaps where muck can get in, strengthened the screen layers, and made that crucial protective film hard to pry off. So this time, the author went hands-on with the new Galaxy Fold and found it to be sturdier than the first time around. They were reminded of the iPhone, Samsung's arch rival in mobile devices. Reviews stretching back 10 years compliment Apple's top-notch build quality. The iPhone feels solid and cohesive. Buttons don't wobble in their housings. You don't see many hairline gaps where dust and crumbs can get stuck. Yes, the iPhone has experienced problems over the years, but not to the scale of, the PR nightmares that came from Samsung with the Galaxy 7 and now the delayed Galaxy Fold. Samsung went out on a limb in its quest to be first, but in the end it only set the company back. But it would have been better off taking a cue from Apple's construction ethos. You see, Samsung's fixes for the Fold tell us a lot about the design to begin with. Whether it wasn't tested long enough in-house for problems to develop, or whether Samsung accepted taking shortcuts to meet its self-imposed deadline, remain unknown. It's no doubt been a costly mistake. Samsung had to spend more time and money to review the problems and fix them. They had to cancel pre-orders, credit initial buyers $250 apiece for the trouble. It's what we know about it now. The company also appears to have scaled back its sales expectation, cutting its 2 best colors from the portfolio. Meanwhile, competitors are watching and waiting to see what happens next. Huawei, LG, Motorola, TCL, and Apple have all either announced their intention to release a foldable phone, or at least rumored to be in the planning stages. So, yeah. So I guess they reached out to Samsung. They did not immediately respond to request for comment, but they might have shored up the Galaxy Fold's most glaring mistakes, but they're already looking forward to seeing what better foldable design the brand comes up with next, and hopefully this fold does not disappoint and actually delivers on what it promises. A foldable phone that can get into a bigger screen but fits in your pocket or your carrying case or whatever you guys carry phones in these. I don't know. Backpack, handbag, wristwatch, who knows? It's myriad of things. Head implant case device. I don't know. I'm thinking Terminator here. Can you tell? Let me know what you guys think of this story down in the comments if you're watching via YouTube. I know when the Galaxy Fold was first announced and when it first came out, I was anticipating a lot. I was excited. I was hopeful, but clearly those were dashed. It snapped right in half, just like the foldable screen that the Galaxy Fold was supposedly hardened against. Didn't work out. So now that Samsung went, maybe we should have spent more time in R&D. We go, yeah, and I bet Apple was sitting there going, you dum-dums, if you want to be rushing yourself to be first, you either make a fool of yourself or you come last. And, well, you made a fool of yourself, so, at least you're not going to show up last, but you'll still be first, just with hopefully a smarter relaunch and a better quality phone to offer this time around. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Initial reviews at this point seem to be good so far. It seems like they've actually shored up on the mistakes. They've fixed a lot of it. We'll see how it remains to be seen once it actually fully rolls out. Once more people start picking up the phone, more people start reviewing it, and if it actually holds up to regular wear and tear. Now, I guarantee you, we're not going to just deliberately drop it down a flight of steps. I wouldn't expect your phone to survive that fall, and I wouldn't expect you to drop it into a lake or a pool. It's not what it's designed for, and neither does it come advertised with, being able to survive being dropped in water. So yeah, that's going to come in time. But yep, that's all I got to share. If I missed anything, let me know. I'm on Twitter at TechNewsGadget. Okay, next up, Sony has unveiled a new version of its iconic Walkman, but don't dust off the old CDs just yet. The refreshed Walkman NW ZX507, why guys come up with the weirdest names, is a high-res touchscreen digital music player capable of streaming music over Wi-Fi using an Android app or storing downloaded music through a micro SD slot and USB port. Unveiled yesterday, September 5th at IFA 2019. Hey, Sony showed up. The 64GB model is equipped with 20 hours of battery life and a 3.6-inch HD screen. The device will be available in Europe starting November 2019 for, what days? Euros, 830 euros, I believe. Hopefully, I don't know, I can't read that sign. I'm bad at reading signs. Roughly 917 US. Roughly about the price of a new iPhone. It also supports MQA or Master Quality Authenticated Audio for streaming services like Tidal. Now, keep in mind, Sony launched the first Walkman 40 years ago and is celebrating the anniversary with an exhibit in Tokyo and a separate limited edition digital Walkman that's similar to the NWZX507 but meant to look more like a cassette player. At IFA, the Japanese electronics company also announced a new phone, the Xperia 5, plus speakers and noise-canceling headphones. I was just joking about them not showing up. I know they're going to show up, and I was just kind of surprised, like, oh, cool. Oh, a new Walkman. Cool. Well, you guys could have done a little bit better on the name. Am I the only one here? Am I? Let me know. Let me know. Because I might just be losing it. Moving on. All right. Well, BioWare is going to be launching a new RPG called Greedfall. Now, on the screen we have here the actual gameplay overview trailer. It kind of introduces you to some of the characters, some of the stories, and then it just like throws this big huge curveball in and you're like, what the heck is going on? Oh boy. Ends. That's all I'm gonna say about that. I know once you actually see it, when you play the video and you actually get to that part in it, you'll think with me and you go, oh Yeah, okay, but that's all I'm going to spoil about it. Out in just a few days, Greedfall is an action role-playing title that at least Push Square here for PS4, PlayStation 4, they've had their eye on for several months now. The game continues to feed the hype with a really good launch trailer. The title sees you travel to an untamed island in hopes of finding a cure for a plague that's crippled your homeland. Greedfall's developers, Spiders, the French studio behind Bound by Flame, and the Technomancer, both of which had some nice ideas, but their execution was flawed on numerous levels. This project, however, looks like a whole cut above the company's previous attempts, and it's clearly got a bigger budget going for it, and hopefully it's not just because they're spending lots of money on a trailer. It actually looks like something fun. You looking forward to Greedfall? Keep an eye out. It looks like, well, at least Push Square here is going to be doing a review on it. Are you ready for a grand adventure? Let us know in the comments section. But yeah, after watching this video, we're not going to actually be playing it for you guys in case you're wondering. By the way, yes, there is a video of this entire show that you guys can watch. Head on over to youtube.com/TechNewsGadget, and you can actually see everything that we're talking about. I do have to say, it has this weird, like, colonial-esque pirate ship battle type feel, but I'm almost wondering if most of the adventuring that you're going to be doing will be like on the island, on land. They didn't really show off much of any battle sequences on boats. They do show a couple scenes of you on a boat, or storyline progressing of you on a boat, but that's all we get to see. But the story itself is actually kind of interesting. I'm kind of intrigued by it, but this game is for the PlayStation. I do not... Well, okay. Let me preface it by saying I did not have time to research if this game is being launched on other platforms or if this is a PlayStation exclusive, but what I do know is this game is coming to PlayStation. So, in just a mere couple of days. So if you are interested, take a look at the trailer, set up your pre-order queue if it deems you worthy, and we'll see what rip-roaring good adventures are to be had. Okay, however, we will be playing this video. There's apparently a Gears 5 bug that is so hilarious players want it permanently added to the game. Now, I understand if you're not able to watch the video of today's show, it's perfectly fine. You know what? Most people actually listen to the show via the podcast that you can access in any podcast app. Simply type in latest in tech news in the search bar in the app that you're using, or you can just head on over to latestintechnews.com and subscribe in whatever option you deem worthy. Gears 5 for the Xbox One and PC isn't out yet, but some players have already gotten their hands on the game via an Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and some other means, and so far the reception seems pretty warm for the new entry in the cover shooter series. That said, the narrative around the game has been swallowed up by server issues which have been plaguing the game since the title went live. That said, beyond the server issues, things are going pretty smoothly. These days, many games launch with a huge slab of bugs and performance issues. Really, we wish they wouldn't. But this doesn't seem to be the case for Gears 5, being mostly bug-free and being completely bug-free are completely different, though. Gears 5 has bugs, including one that involves the MVP screen, the ending screen that you see after the match warms up. However, the bug is so hilarious that players want it added as a permanent feature in the game. Now, it's unclear exactly how common this bug is, but one player documented it at least and posted it over on Reddit. In it, the player playing as Emil is about to unleash a bayonet charge via the Retro Lancer. However, this is interrupted by the match ending, but nobody tells Emil this, who keeps yelling through the transition endgame screen all the way to the MVP screen, where something unexpected and hilarious happens. And see, this is kind of why that you tune in to watch the video of today's show over on YouTube, because right now I'm about to play you audio of what's happening in the game, and if you're listening just via the podcast, you're gonna have no idea what just happened. Let's take a look-see, shall we?
This is a war that can be won, and with gears like you, it is a war that will be won.
My best part, I'm not going to replay it for you guys, but the best part of that entire clip is like right there, right at the end. I love it. It's pretty funny. Now, as you may know, the current MVP screens are a bit lacking and boring, for at least if you are playing a game or you've been watching somebody who is playing a game. The character just stands there with a pretty blank expression on their face, which is why this bug makes it even better. The juxtaposition is quite hilarious. One of the places the Coalition needs to flesh out the game is with the MVP screens, which are lacking compared to some other games. And one of the ways you can do this is with dynamic actions, poses, dances, and one of these should definitely be of Emil charging off the screen, screaming, and then nailing something and shaking the entire camera. It'd be hilarious. For those wondering, Gears 5 will be available for everyone starting on September 10th via the Xbox One and PC via Windows 10 and Steam. For news, media, and information on the game, it looks like comicbook.com has some coverage as well. But yeah, I had to share it. That's the only entertainment you guys are getting for this entire week. Because that's all I got. I'm tired. It's late. I should probably go to bed, but my brain's telling me I should get another Mountain Dew. I think I need help. Yeah, well, that wraps up this episode of the latest in tech news. Thanks for tuning in. New episodes every weekday, which means you won't be getting a show tomorrow or the day after, because that's Saturday and Sunday, and we don't do shows on the weekends, but we will be back fresh on Monday. Latest in tech news can be found on every major platform, including Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Stitcher, Overcast, and more. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to let us know by clicking that like button and by leaving a comment if you're watching today via YouTube. And if you're listening via the podcast, a lot of you are now tuning in via the podcast. Thank you so much. If you would, go head on over to Apple Podcast and leave us a review, or leave us a review in the app that you're currently listening on. That would be greatly appreciated. Appreciate your listenership and support so much. Also, double check that you are subscribed so that you don't miss the next episode. I'm your host, Taylor Merrick, and remember, for the latest in tech, gadget, and gaming news, visit TechNewsGadget.net. Pretty much, keep being awesome, guys, and I'll see you on the flip side.